Inside Cook County Jail, where innocence doesn't matter. Cook County Jail is one of the largest single-site jails in the United States. On any given day, thousands of people are held inside its walls, many of them not convicted of any crime. They are waiting. Waiting for court dates. Waiting for hearings. Waiting for a system that moves slowly, and sometimes, unevenly. For some, that wait lasts days. For others, months. And in certain cases, even years. This is not a prison for the guilty. It is a jail for the accused. And inside Cook County Jail, innocence does not always mean freedom. Before we go deeper inside Cook County Jail, take a moment to support the channel. If you value real, fact-based crime documentaries, stories built on truth, not speculation, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Beyond the Bars. Your support helps us continue bringing you stories that matter. The scale of Cook County Jail. Located on Chicago's west side, Cook County Jail is not a single building. It is a sprawling complex. Multiple divisions. Hundreds of tiers. Thousands of cells. At its peak, the jail has held more than 10,000 detainees at once, making it one of the largest jail facilities in the United States. Unlike prisons, which house people already convicted of crimes, jails like Cook County are primarily designed for pretrial detention. That means the majority of people inside have not been found guilty in a court of law. They are legally presumed innocent. Yet they remain behind bars. Because they cannot afford bail. Because their cases are delayed. Or because the system has not yet decided their fate. The Cook County Sheriff's Office oversees the facility, managing intake, housing, transportation, and security for thousands of detainees every day. But the sheer size of the jail creates a constant challenge. Overcrowding has been a recurring issue for decades. At various points in its history, Cook County Jail has operated at or beyond capacity, forcing officials to adapt, expand, and, at times, struggle to maintain order. The jail functions almost like a small city. It has its own medical units, court holding areas, food services, and internal movement systems. But unlike a city, every movement is controlled. Every door is locked. And every person inside is there under the authority of the criminal justice system. Entering the system. For most detainees, the journey into Cook County Jail begins with an arrest. Once processed by local law enforcement, individuals are transported to the jail for intake. This process is systematic. Personal belongings are confiscated and catalogued. Fingerprints are taken. Photographs are recorded. Medical screenings are conducted. And each individual is assigned a classification level based on factors like the alleged offense, criminal history, and perceived risk. But classification is not always precise. In large jail systems, decisions must be made quickly. And those decisions can have serious consequences. Detainees may be placed in units with individuals facing more serious charges. Or housed in overcrowded divisions where tensions are already high. For some, the intake process itself is overwhelming. Many arrive without fully understanding what will happen next. They may not yet have legal representation. They may not know how long they will be held. And in some cases, they may not even fully understand the charges against them. Because the legal process has only just begun. Pretrial detention, the bail system. One of the most critical moments in a detainee's case comes shortly after arrest. The bond hearing. During this hearing, a judge determines whether the individual will be released while awaiting trial, or held in custody. Often, that decision comes down to money. Bail. In Cook County, as in many parts of the United States, bail has historically been used as a mechanism to ensure that defendants return to court. But in practice, it has created a system where freedom can depend on financial resources. Two individuals charged with similar offenses may face very different outcomes. One is able to pay bail and return home. The other remains in jail. Not because they have been convicted, but because they cannot afford to leave. Studies conducted prior to bail reforms in Illinois found that a significant percentage of detainees in Cook County Jail were being held pretrial solely due to inability to pay bail. This raised serious concerns among legal scholars, civil rights organizations, and policymakers. Because pretrial detention has consequences. People can lose jobs, lose housing, lose access to family support, all before their case is even decided. In recent years, Illinois has implemented reforms aimed at reducing reliance on cash bail. However, the full impact of these changes continues to evolve, and debates about fairness, public safety, and legal equity remain ongoing. Life inside the divisions. Inside Cook County Jail, detainees are housed in divisions. Each division is designed for a specific classification, ranging from minimum security to maximum security units. The conditions vary, but certain realities remain consistent. Cells are often small, shared between 2 or more individuals. Privacy is limited. Noise is constant. Daily life follows a structured routine. Meals are served at scheduled times. Movement is controlled. Recreation, when available, is limited and closely monitored. For detainees awaiting trial, time can feel suspended. There is no clear endpoint. No definitive timeline. Only court dates, and delays. Cook County Jail has faced long-standing scrutiny over conditions within its divisions. Reports from oversight agencies and investigative journalists have documented concerns related to overcrowding, sanitation, and safety. At various points, the facility has been subject to federal investigations and reform agreements aimed at improving conditions. Officials have taken steps to address these issues, including reducing population levels and increasing access to services. But challenges persist. Because managing a jail of this size is complex. And the human impact of detention is not easily resolved. Violence and safety concerns. Safety inside Cook County Jail has been a recurring concern. Both for detainees and for staff. Incidents of violence have been documented over the years, including fights between detainees and, in some cases, use of force incidents involving correctional officers. The causes are complex. Overcrowding can increase tension. Mental health issues are prevalent among jail populations. And the stress of pretrial detention can escalate conflict. Official reports have acknowledged these risks. And efforts have been made to improve training, oversight, and accountability. But no large jail system is immune to violence. And Cook County Jail is no exception. For those inside, safety is not always guaranteed. And for individuals who have not yet been convicted of a crime, that reality raises difficult questions. Inside the system. Mental health crisis behind bars. Cook County Jail is not just a detention center. It has also become one of the largest providers of mental health services in the state of Illinois. This is not by design. It is the result of a broader systemic issue. Across the United States, individuals with serious mental health conditions are disproportionately represented in the criminal justice system. And Cook County Jail reflects that reality. At various points, officials have reported that a significant percentage of detainees, sometimes more than 1/3, require some form of mental health care. Conditions range from anxiety and depression to severe psychiatric disorders. For many, incarceration is not their first point of contact with the system. Some have cycled through hospitals, shelters, and previous arrests. Others arrive without any prior diagnosis, only to be identified during intake screenings. The jail operates specialized units designed to house and monitor individuals with mental health needs. These units are staffed by medical professionals, including psychiatrists, psychologists, and trained correctional officers. But resources are limited. And the demand is high. Advocates have long argued that jails are not equipped to function as mental health institutions. Treatment inside a correctional setting is inherently constrained. Security protocols limit movement. Staff shortages can delay care. And the environment itself, isolated, controlled, and often stressful, can worsen existing conditions. Cook County officials have implemented programs aimed at improving access to care, including expanded screening and treatment initiatives. But the broader issue remains unresolved. Because the jail is addressing a problem that exists far beyond its walls. Medical care and controversy. Providing medical care inside a facility the size of Cook County Jail is a complex operation. Every detainee is entitled to basic health care under U.S. law. That includes access to medical evaluations, treatment, and emergency care. The jail maintains an internal healthcare system designed to meet these needs. But over the years, that system has faced repeated scrutiny. Investigations by journalists and oversight bodies have documented cases where detainees experience delays in receiving medical attention. In some instances, these delays have had serious consequences. There have been lawsuits alleging inadequate care. Federal reviews have examined policies and procedures. And advocacy groups have raised concerns about systemic shortcomings. Cook County officials have acknowledged past issues and implemented reforms aimed at improving response times, staffing levels, and oversight. New protocols have been introduced. Additional medical personnel have been hired. And monitoring systems have been strengthened. Yet, despite these efforts, concerns have not fully disappeared. Because in a facility housing thousands of individuals, even small gaps in care can have significant impact. And for detainees who are already vulnerable, access to timely medical attention can mean the difference between recovery and deterioration. Solitary confinement and isolation. Within Cook County Jail, certain detainees are placed in restrictive housing, often referred to as solitary confinement or administrative segregation. These units are used for various reasons. Disciplinary action, protective custody, or classification decisions based on perceived risk. In these conditions, detainees may spend up to 23 hours a day inside a cell. Human contact is minimal. Movement is tightly controlled. And the environment is intentionally restrictive. The use of solitary confinement has been the subject of ongoing debate across the United States. Medical experts have raised concerns about its psychological effects, particularly for individuals with pre-existing mental health conditions. Studies have linked prolonged isolation to increased anxiety, depression, and, in some cases, cognitive decline. Cook County has implemented policies aimed at limiting the use of solitary confinement, especially for vulnerable populations. Reforms have included reducing the number of detainees placed in isolation and increasing oversight. But the practice has not been eliminated. And questions remain about when, and how, it should be used. Because for those inside, isolation is not just a condition. It is an experience that can leave lasting effects. Real cases, delays and detention. For many detainees, the most difficult part of being held in Cook County Jail is not the physical environment. It is the uncertainty. Court delays are a well-documented issue in large urban jurisdictions. Cases can take months, or longer, to move through the system. And during that time, individuals remain in custody, even if they have not been convicted. Public records and investigative reports have highlighted cases where detainees spent extended periods in jail awaiting trial. Some were eventually acquitted. Others had charges reduced or dismissed. In certain instances, individuals pleaded guilty, not necessarily because of clear evidence, but to secure release after long periods of detention. Legal experts have debated the implications of this dynamic. Because prolonged pretrial detention can influence outcomes. It can affect decision-making, limit access to legal resources, and place pressure on defendants. Cook County has taken steps to address court backlogs, including procedural reforms and increased use of technology. However, systemic delays have not been fully eliminated. And for those inside the jail, time continues to move differently. Measured not in days or weeks, but in court dates and waiting, staff, oversight, and reform efforts. Running Cook County Jail requires thousands of staff members, correctional officers, medical personnel, administrative staff, and oversight officials. Their responsibilities are extensive. Maintaining security, managing detainee movement, responding to emergencies, and ensuring that policies are followed. Oversight is conducted through multiple channels. Internal reviews, Inspector General investigations, and, at times, federal monitoring. Over the years, Cook County Jail has entered into reform agreements aimed at improving conditions and accountability. These agreements have addressed issues such as use of force, medical care, and detainee treatment. Progress has been reported in certain areas. Population levels have decreased compared to historical highs. Some facilities have been updated, and new policies have been introduced. But reform in a system of this scale is gradual and often uneven. Challenges remain: staffing shortages, resource constraints, and the complexity of managing a large, urban jail population. Because Cook County Jail is not just a building. It is a system. And changing a system takes time. Cook County Jail is more than a place of detention. It is where thousands wait, not just for trial, but for answers. For some, justice comes. For others, the wait leaves lasting consequences. And the question remains: what does it mean to be innocent, if you're still behind bars? If you believe stories like this deserve to be told with truth and depth, support the channel. Like the video, subscribe to Beyond the Bars, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's happening behind the walls. Because the system doesn't stop. And neither do we.